go. So everything that we're doing is going to be predicated on everything that we've taught forever. And I'm really, really, really working hard here to try to get as many of these things added in continually as possible to make the system better and better and better and closer and closer and closer. Obviously, one of the things that the system does real well is termination conditions. If the market hits a blue line, red line, one to ones, pivot stop outs, etc., it will not generate a trade. However, there was an example, and somebody sent me a private message on it, so it's a good thing. I have my area offset -1. Let me make that bigger. You guys probably can't see that, can you? Let me remove a couple of these. So it's -1, and what happens? I wanted to give you guys understanding because I think that's today. That's going to be, one of the top things that I would like to convey to everybody is really get an understanding of what everything is doing, why it's doing it, where the tweaks are, the changes I'm going to be making, so on and so forth. If you have questions, please just ask them, okay? Because I even forgot I was running the room today, so I have not a big plan on what we're going to be doing. So, can you guys see this picture? So, I'm going to blow it up here. And, we're looking, this is a 21.3 bar for the ES. So, each bar, what happens? Our funding firm, no, but we have an application in with NinjaTrader now to be also not just AMP, but Trade of 8 Ninja prop. So stand by on that. Assuming we get accepted, we'll have the ability to do either or Ninja and or the AMP version. So fingers crossed on that one. So what happens is it's just going to be awesome. Obviously. So, short version is my settings are if you get within a tick of a fib, it's not going to generate a signal. And just the nature of these dynamic Renko bars, there's 3 ticks, and then the 4th tick actually makes a new bar. So, just to give you understanding of what the filter is doing itself in the indicator. So, because when you look at your chart, you're like, oh my God, we hit a fib. Why the hell did it give a long signal? Right? I mean, that's obviously what we're looking at. So, what happens is every bar, when it closes, creates, call it a snapshot. A snapshot of the high, the low, where the trigger lines are, where everything is. And this is what the filter is using for how close to a fib. So since it's 3 ticks away and you only have the filter set for 1 tick away, it's only looking at the closed bar when it's doing this calculation. So let me show you the system side of it here real quick. So in the strategy, the input that says 11x level hit tolerance, how many ticks? So I've got that set to 1 or -1. So that means 1 before the line. So what you'll see, and just it's a visual thing when you're looking at a chart, you're like, oh my God, we hit a line. And, and again, when we hit a line, for example, I'll just use this NASDAQ right here. This hasn't hit the line yet on a close. Maybe that one's 1 tick away, hard to know. But then this is the one that will end up, stopping us from doing a trade because of a pivot stop out. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an understanding on the areas hit portion of this, so you can really have a good understanding of it. Anyway, questions on that? And if you're using, let's just say S&P, or we'll watch the NASDAQ for now. But let's say you're using the NASDAQ and you've got a 34.5 chart. If you don't want to do a trade into a fib or a 1-to-1, you need to set that setting to like -5 or 6. And then that way, when the bar prior to the area gets there, it won't do a trade. What's best? I don't know. We'll find out over time. So that's one of the little things that um, a lot of people just don't understand. So I wanted to go through that. There's probably quite a few things that people don't understand. So I'm just going to go through common questions and troubles and things that people go through. And, again, this market has been pretty sick. Under norm, when we look at, trading or not trading, what we're looking for entries is we're looking for the edge of one of two things: the synthetic triggers and or the large triggers. So when we're doing dynamic limit order entries, for example, it will actually say what's the farthest away line between the triggers. Is everybody okay with that? Some of you guys like the limit order side of it. Mark obviously likes the reversal bar portion of it. I think reversal bars are great. Obviously, you give up a little bit of money. And usually, when you get a reversal bar, you can get a few ticks better. Or, there's another strategy. I am recording this. There's another strategy Janesh has used for a long time, and a guy named John we'll call him John T3, not me. But they use what's called a half bar strategy. And technically, I have this written into the system, and I think there's a little bug in it. But we're going to test this one out going into next week. And let me just show you what it is so that way you can understand. So right now, basically, you guys are using either, yes, market orders or limit orders, right? And what we also have is we have what's called a stop market order. And it works, but I think it doesn't persist on every new bar on the small chart. It just gives you one bar, and then if it doesn't go on that one bar, it's gone. So that's the fix that I have to make yet on this one. But the stop market, I think, is going to be very interesting because, again, when the strategy paints a zone, and it's going to paint the zone from the top of the large triggers to the bottom of the synthetic triggers, or vice versa, depending on who's on top or who's on first, right? But the stop entry strategy would basically, right now a limit order gets you in right here. It's been a while since I've done this. So a limit order is going to get you in right here at the area inside of the zone. A market order entry is going to get you in over here. And God forbid, in the freaking NASDAQ lately, it's probably going to fill you down here, right? I mean, it's been pretty hairy, obviously, since we've been dropping bombs and doing the whole Iran thing. So, anyway, hopefully that comes to a conclusion fairly quickly because, if you guys haven't noticed, the market sits for a minute and then just takes off and then sits and then it's been crazy. It's been a tough couple weeks. Anyway, short version, I got a little off track there. So limit order is going to put you in here. Market order is going to put you in after the down bar, right? Ideally. And then this stop limit will give you the ability to, let's just say, like on a 13-2 bar, it's 26 ticks, 28 ticks to make a bar. So you could set a, let me make a picture of this. Will be easier. And again, this is just going to give you guys another opportunity. So, just explainers first, and we'll look at charts second. Limit order, dynamic inside the trigs farthest away. And again, these get run over a lot. So, some people like them, some people don't. Yeah. Is a redhead or a blonde better? I mean, that's subjective. So, anyway, we'll leave that one alone. There is no such thing as what's better. It's what's working at the moment based on the volatility and the craziness of the market. Um, so, anyway, market order will get you in after a down bar. I think everybody's okay with those, right? So, and I hope this will be done. Market order after a down bar. So, whatever the price is. Now, this is the one that I was talking about that, I think it has a small bug, so I got to fix it. Stop. Isn't that what it's called? Man, I forgot. Sorry, my brain is a little off here this morning. So, the I've got to turn this back on anyway. So we have market orders, we have stop market orders, stop limits, same basically thing, but you're forcing it to give a price. I don't think that's a good idea, or MITs, but the stop market is what we're talking about here. And let me put it back on market, and let me enable this bad boy just so it's on. All right, so what it'll do is it will give you the ability to say, the offset, let's say 14 ticks from the high, place a sell stop to enter. Is everybody okay with that? So we're just kind of going through the three basic order entry types. And this has been basically tried and true. You guys can go back and do some research and look at this. But essentially, what it's going to do is you'll put a stop market order a little below the low of the last bar, and basically you're splitting the difference. In this, when they work, limit order is the best. When they don't work, market order is the best if they get run over. But this gives you a third option where you can say, okay, I want to take it, but I want to have a little bit less risk, right? So you can have your risk maybe just right above there. And then if it gets you, it can do it again. But, this way you'll save 14 ticks or maybe 15 or 16 versus a market order, which is pretty significant. So you're still waiting for some turn, but not the full turn. Does that make sense? It made sense when I thought it and said it. I just want to make sure it makes sense on your side. So this one needs a quick fix. I'll give you guys a picture of this just so you have it. So that's one thing that I'm working on currently. So we have limits, we have markets. My market orders don't work, but I'm on 14.4. You guys are not. So anyway, and I think 14.6 is our 7 is already being done. So hopefully everybody will get an email over the weekend with an update. Thank God I didn't send out this one without testing because there's no signals at all. Let's go back and see what we got going on here. All right, so why is this thing not generating? There we go. So again, oops. I can't really trade this. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, we might be able to if we've got some time, but this is exactly, the spot where we've got our inside the trigger lines. We've got a teeny tiny little tail. Some of these rules that we have become true only when the bar is going up here. So you'll kind of see it sometimes where it's like, oh man, it should have got in, but it was late with the zone. Anyway, that will happen sometimes. Remember, everything that happens on the large chart is intra-bar. So if the bar changes by the close of the bar, that's when the conditions change and things can go away. So anyway, so the number 9 input on the strategy, I have disabled on mine personally because the small chart handles this work. So number 9 says, how far can the large triggers be on the wrong side of the EMA? And I have that off because, and the reason I have it off is because at this moment in time, let's just say we got a pullback to there, right? I'll just highlight it with a circle. We did get our breakout. Cool. Let me find that circle. Okay. So if we did get a pullback to that EMA on the big chart, the small chart already handles the the small chart already handles, where are we in relationship to the synthetic triggers, which are nothing more than the large triggers on your big chart. So it's kind of redundant since we have the second chart now. So I don't even think it's necessary. Did that answer your question? I want to make sure. All right. Now, getting back to live, what do you guys think? Signal or no signal? You guys want to go limit order entries at the spot and see what happens? Or do you want to wait for a reversal bar? I'm going to let you guys pick it. Or you want to do one of each? Or do you want to do a half bar entry? So we got our zone. If we were going to do a stop limit entry, it would look like this. See how we're above the last bar? So again, there's good things and bad things that can happen with that situation. That will get you in earlier and give you the opportunity to risk less. And then if it does go down to well, there you go. See? So that's a good example of it. We'll see what happens. And then, man, my ATM must suck. I must have it wrong, but we'll just. One of each, right? So again, I think, obviously I have my ATM set up wrong. I thought I had Mark's ATM with the trailer, but apparently I don't. These are the ones that if you get that second divergence, they're just going to come down here and usually give it to you from the spot. Now, here's the other thing do you see how these triggers are not crossed? This is one of the other changes that I'm making. If the small triggers are still crossed up when the divergence happens, it usually doesn't go down. We'll see. And then when they do cross, it will usually go down. So, again, we've got dynamic limit entries. So essentially, I'm trying to get in closer to the area. We'll see how that works out. We'll put one of them in at trouble, and then I guess he's got a trailer. I mean, it may not go, but anyway, that was kind of limit order at the spot, which, sometimes they get run over, sometimes they don't. Didn't quite make an up bar there, did we? And I have my NASDAQ stops on here, so it looks like I'm risking a whole lot. 6 points, that's $300. Anyway. All right. Bouncy time from the fib. We'll see what happens. Not so much. All right. Well, that's not going to work. Now, here's the question. So your trade's not working. It's not looking good. Do you want to take a graceful exit? This is where the soft close indicator comes in. So if you wanted to exit, you could move, you could move things to areas like that. And you could say, okay, soft close. So anyway, having the stop out of the way, I'll wait for the system to generate something else. But again, waiting for a reversal bar might have been better instead of a limit order, but it's not much difference in there. But since the conditions changed and we're trading into resistance and Mid band in a sick down market, I think managing is not a bad idea. So I lost $12. Um, and it may go up again if we get, a breakout here and things roll back over for another signal. We can always do it again. Unless they're going to go down here and test the lower area. I don't know what they're going to do. But anyway, everybody okay with that? And again, if you were taking only one, if you were only taking one signal, this would have been your signal and that would have been your exit. Then that's the end of the party. I'm okay with the second signal with divergence if the conditions are still true on the big chart. And you can see our problem with the conditions that the small triggers have rolled over the other way. I would personally do it anyway and take my first target at the small triggers, but got to be a little more politically correct, or Mark's going to kick my ass for doing too much discretionary stuff in here. um, all right. Which ATM am I using? Whichever one Mark did. It's a 2 lot with one target at 25 ticks and then some type of trailing that will run. It will run or chase. I don't exactly know what he has set up in here. It looks like at 30 ticks, it will trail behind by every tick. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. If we test support and we get a higher divergence, do we want to take that trade a second time or not? What do you think? Because really the reason we got out was lower divergence. So it's kind of the same thing in reverse where we get higher divergence for the trade that we wanted anyway. And again, this is more discretionary. May not even get a fill now, but anyway, could have just left well enough alone, but we'll see if they're nice enough to give us a little stab back and try to get the rest of our money. If not, not a big deal. We'll work on it later. I'm a fan of just going after the second divergence and hanging on for dear life and seeing what happens. That's just me, but again, I don't want to I don't want to interject too much of my own thought or style in there. And look, this is where your first target would be. Remember, I said first target kind of at the small triggers. So, anyway, that's about where the party's going to end. We're going to wait for the system to do another trade, and then we'll, let's see. Oh, shit. I need to F5 these bad boys. Hang on a second. We'll get in here and take a look at the NASDAQ and see if it's coming along and wants to, because we're on the verge breaking out here from the bottom, and we'll see if it wants to participate in the buy signal business like the S&P. Questions, comments, concerns? John, like the stop limit order option instead of market. I'm trying to change it on my chart, but it didn't activate in the strategy. Yeah, stop limits are not set up yet. I put it in there, but it's not set up yet. Come on, man, this thing's calculating. This is one of my favorite looks on the NASDAQ. 1-to-1, strong triggers, and a pivot stop out right there. I mean, for me personally, on a discretionary basis, that's 100%er for me. When you do have default charts, but you don't have the ones that I'm running today, you can thank Jay Blay for me changing it. All right. Anyway, there was no system signal just because the triggers were a little bit, but we do now have the potential of a long signal on our smaller chart if we get a reversal bar. And now we're just about outside of that. So it may not happen. I think we just canceled the condition because the small trigger rolled over. So anyway, it got to the spot and it's smarter than I am. Anyway, I think that the trade was right over here. Discretionary trade. Pivot stop out, 1-to-1s with the fib. Remember I said anything. So triggers plus fib plus 1-to-1s. That's the freaking easy money trade right there from a discretionary standpoint. There's so much good stuff we can do to the system. So first things first, I got to get the dynamic zones and the market order entries and the stop market. And I'll do the stop limit entries too. So that way we have all of them, okay? And then, because here's the thing, okay? Let me tell you about a stop limit entry. You are guaranteed to take every loser. Listen to what I'm saying about these things. With a limit order, you are 100% guaranteed, without a doubt, going to take every loser. But when you do stop limit order entries, you're not guaranteed that you're going to get all the winners. So since we're going for 30, 40, 50, 60 ticks on, let's just say something like the NASDAQ, is it worth 2 or 3 ticks to try to get a little better entry? So you have to kind of weigh out whether. Can you guys hear me? Okay. All right. What is that? Keith, what are those? Just out of curiosity. I don't think those are what you wanted to put in there. Yeah, cool. Okay, so what the hell, Johnny? Okay, so intrabar, it looks like we had a signal. And it looks like we had a reversal bar for a trade. But, trading directly into a fib, I'm not as much of a fan. If you guys wanted to take it, your stop would end up being below here. But I'm not a fan of this one in any way. I don't know why. I got to take a picture of this just for my programmer because. Anyway, I wouldn't do this one. I don't know why it even generated a damn signal. Oh, you know what? He's going to tell me, show me the grid. So, oh, it went up anyway. Perfect. Huh. Anyway, that's really weird. Huh. All right, let me look at my settings. Voice isolation. Mm-hmm. Testing, testing. Yeah, it's working. Okay, so I don't think it's anything on the broadcast side for me, but this is the question. But you have to remember, guys, this is 12.3 version, and we're on 14 point whatever. So anyway, hopefully solve. Oh, looks like we have missed trade entry. All right, took us out. Okay. So the question is, do we like this trade entry if we get another reversal bar? That's the question. Or do we want to do like a little half Z bar and say, hey, if I get a half bar, I'll take it? Well, shit, that's so fast. All right. That really, hey, I guess it took me out of one already. Shit, I don't know. Sorry. Anyway, once you get divergence, trigger lines cross, it's over. This is the discretionary entry that Mark and I were talking about over the week. That if you want to do a trade a second time, usually after a divergence, you get a chance. You know, probably not doing. I mean, I think it's going to go up, but again, I'm not doing that one from a discretionary standpoint. But you can see the idea, right? If you only have one signal, it got you in here, and the lower divergence got you out, which is exactly what we wanted it to do. And then ultimately, if divergence gets you out, divergence would usually get you back in, which would be a nice quick one right there. Anyway, Jim, what's up? Your audio settings. You can't hear any talking, huh? Okay, now, one of my favorites, guys, termination with divergence. I'm anticipating we're going to get some type of freaking short signal over here. Oh, shit. That was quick. Huh, that's awful close, isn't it? Anyway, we don't really want to risk too much with that, do we? All right, we got a little runner action going. We'll see if they keep going. So we can't really lose any more on this one. We can make a little more. So we'll watch it when we get down to like the if I should say if we get down to the pivot stop out. We'll see what we can do with it. Now we've got a pivot stop out again. And again, I was just kind of moving my stops out of the way. Now I'm going to be, I may be a little bit more assertive with it. At a pivot stop out and a 1-to-1 right here. It may go up anyway, but we're about to find out how sick the market is. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So that was it. Anyway, not a bad little signal. That was NASDAQ. All right. Now, usually, remember I said they make it up to the midband? Usually, when there's a midband and a fib, if you were inclined on doing a second one, this is the spot to watch to either break or go again. Again, remember, divergence got us out. I'm not going short straight into a pivot stop out with triggers up, but we didn't quite make the pivot stop out, but damn, it was close. No, that was automated. I didn't do it. And again, look, if you went short assertively at the fib and the midband, this is the spot that has to be really destroyed and taken out quickly, or else, well, there you go. Anyway, that's just discretion. And I told Mark I wasn't going to do much discretion in here because, anyway, but very, very common to have a good top, then you get a trend trade, then after it's over, it pulls back to the mid band and it does, it does what it does. All right. Questions about that one? Again, we were down $500 just horsing around a little bit, so we got that back, it looks like. So that's pretty good. It's a start. The other thing is, I think we might have had a signal over here that I wasn't even watching on the S&P. So remember, we had the first signal that took us out. So here was our first signal on the S&P. You guys tell me if you have questions about this. First signal, lower divergence takes it out. And then as it rolls forward, it gets another signal. I'll draw a little circle on it. So these are discretionary marks. So here's your next signal. And again, I guess that's where the money came from, system-wise. So system signal here, and looks like it made some money and probably trailed. I don't know where it got out, but anyway. So I think that was our money winner. I am recording this, yes. And unfortunately, I just can't do anything about it. I don't know why this blue thing is even plotting here. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies, but we're not going to do a long signal. That's not going to happen. Shouldn't happen, anyway. I hope. All right, so that's the S&P. You guys want to watch NASDAQ or S&P as our primary? NQ second trade. I know this is going to be good, Rain. I know what it is. Ooh, let's see what we got. So first trade, and then you did second trade from here. I don't see any markers, so it's hard to know. Two losers. Okay. I don't see, where is the, I just don't know. How did this trade lose? I'm just not sure how it would have lost. There's just no reason for it to lose. And then I don't see your other one. Maybe I'm looking down here, Rain. Do you see these little markers down here inside of the grid? These little markers tell you when there was a signal. And I only see one on your small chart. Come on, Johnny. Unless I'm just missing something. So I don't know why it would have done two. Anyway, I could be mistaken. All right, let me get rid of. Oh, it looks like it got us in a signal. And probably going to take us out with a second divergence. I turned it off just to see if we can get away with it. It's only going to be a few extra ticks, one way or the other, but probably going to get us. Anyway, signal, higher divergence. I had it off so it didn't take us out. And then this is where we have discretion. Do we want to do the trade again with a reversal bar? And the answer is hell no. Quickly. Anyway, short. And again, this is another one. Look, for me personally, whenever I have one-to-ones at the edge and everything else, the half bar entry I think is really, really good. Which would have got you in a little earlier. And anyway. All right. Looks like we're kind of stuck here on whether we're going up or down. I don't really have a good feel. Looks like short trade, and then remember what we said, usually from the mid band. Man, there's just not a lot of reason up here to really take that. If we had hit that fib, for me, discretion on the second one right there. I love it. I can't even go further into it because that mid band on your big chart was right here. So for me, cheating and using a little bit of trading view on top of it. Obviously, that was the outer band on the 15-minute chart. super one-to-one in triggers here. I'm okay selling the shit out of that one myself personally, and this is what it looks like on this one. But again, discretion, and that's a whole lot of reasons, but you guys understand it, right? Anyway, hopefully you understand it. All right, questions. Did I upset anyone because I asked 4 questions? No, no, no. I love questions, guys, because look, I have no freaking clue what. All right, guys. Again, one-to-ones at the edge of synthetic triggers. The large chart didn't have 4 triggers through, so that's why it's not doing a trade here. Had it even have done a trade, it would have been over quickly with the higher divergence. This has been such a ridiculously good pattern over the last couple weeks since we started dropping bombs. The trend trade happens, then the mid-band holds. And trend trade happens, then the mid-band holds. And then it's just been really, really, really consistent. But discretionary. So we're doing a little bit of battle right now with this fib area. And, when you look at the blue fib, you ask yourself 2 questions. Where are my triggers located and where are my triggers located? Yes, they are. I've screwed the pooch on the first 30, 40 minutes today because I had a new version of the system that is not working. I was testing it last night and it didn't work. And anyway, I reverted back to the same one that you guys have at the moment. But I have quite a few changes coming. Number one, market orders will only be in the zone period in the new one, if you check that box that they have to be. And the wide trigger calculations are going to be tweaked up just a little bit. And then the exit opposite divergence is going to read the trigger lines to decide whether it should actually take it or not. So let's take a look at trade management. There was a time when I said there is no freaking way I'm ever going to write this into an automated trading system because there's so much. Teaching it is one thing. Automating it, Anyway, we've got it automated, but we still are tweaking up trade management, trade entry stuff a little bit. But when you look at entries and exits, I think this is, again, this is such an old picture. This picture is from, 327. Literally exactly 4 years ago to the day. So this is literally 4 years ago, and it's the same damn thing that we talk about now. When you're looking at a divergence and you're deciding, should I not take a trade or not? Where is the divergence located? What are the trigger lines doing? And this is basically a divergence that's not going to stop you from taking a trend trade short. The other thing that is ultra freaking consistent is if you get divergence and all the trigger lines are going down again, it usually is going to push again. And then not until divergence and the small trigger lines are rolling and inside of the large do you really get a good termination. You guys understand this? So, so divergence shouldn't be an exit for all because it's just not the best way to do it. You really have to go in and do a lot of trigger line comparison. Location versus crossed up or down versus. So those are the things that I'm adding in and this weekend. We started already, but again, I think that's going to again make the system more dynamic. And again, when we look at doing trend trades, um, you know, if we get a divergence, traditionally, if the small triggers are inside and cross down at the time, it's going to go a lot lower. Um, but, again, this is more about stop placement and, do you want to keep that risk in there because of the strength of the large chart and where you came from? Which, again, these are all discretionary things, but with a little bit of discretion, as we continue to automate a lot of these concepts, I think, it's really, really, really close. But this is where, this picture is from August of 2022 on crude oil. And again, the rules that we've taught forever are really, really consistent. Usually, if divergence gets you out, and you guys have seen this with Mark this week, I'm assuming, right? I don't always listen to the room, but if you get a new divergence, it'll get you back in as a discretionary second chance. Is everybody up to speed on that one? Have you guys seen that? Anyway, that's, and the other one that really, really helps is if there's a pivot stop out, as a good second chance. And then the other part of what we're doing is, making sure that your stops are below the pivot, below the triggers. And if they get you, then you have to wait. Because if the small triggers don't roll back up, you almost never get a winner. So, again, sometimes you just have to take the hickey and be done with it. As far as management rules, um, when you get the second divergence that's lower 99 times out of 100, it goes and takes out the last low. I mean, not 99 times out of 100, maybe 79 out of 100 times it takes out the low. Obviously, we've got a whole bunch of fibs here, and if you were discretionarily going long, you may click the button and say disable that lower divergence exit because I don't want to get out. If you do end up getting out, from where you got in on a reversal to out, probably just about a break even. And again, a new divergence with an up bar really is a great second chance opportunity. And you can see, this is 4 years ago, but it's literally the same thing that we've been doing for a long time. But is everybody okay with that? And then the other one that is also on here, if you're going to take a second, let's say you got long and, 1-to-1s get you out or whatever, a pivot stop out with all of the triggers going in your favor, that's freaking money right there. Uh-oh, look at that. Somebody got done selling. That was a hell of a move in 1 minute. And I say 1 minute because I'm looking at this chart too. I mean, who the hell saw that coming? It was from our small triggers that rolled over on the 15-minute chart for the very first time today. So I think the world was ready to do some buying. But you can see we tested those triggers. Then you had a white paint bar up with the triggers going, and you had to be lickety split fast on that one, or else you're not making any money. That's trading view. Right, Mike? But that's what they've been doing. They've been doing psycho freaking run up, and then it's right back to selling again. So, we're in a situation. One of the other things that I'm working on is like right now, if the triggers are inside now, so it doesn't matter. But right now, the wide trigger condition ends when one teeny tiny line is inside. And I don't think that that's best. So I'm forcing it to have both lines inside before it actually says wide triggers are over. So that's another update that I'm doing here. Yeah, I got the same thing. I actually don't have a lot of zones on my other charts, so there was a 1 minute zone down there at 50, but anyway. All right, so now without wide triggers, we're not doing any trades. Let's see what the S&P is looking like. S&P, like I told you, we were doing battles with Fibonacci supports, and Fib support won. And very typical for the market when Fibs work, the market goes up higher. Again, straight into a termination zone in 1 or 2 minutes. So it's like, yay, we're moving, we're going to get something, and then damn it, we hit a termination. And again, trend trades after terminations don't work really well. Now, that doesn't mean the mid band and or something might not finish it off, but uh, it's not a lot over here. It makes me think that. Anyway, so we are literally a mile away from doing anything on the S&P system wise. So I guess there's no reason to really look at that. A lot of time spent doing nothing. Um, I'm wondering if we could do like double large chart like this, and then have, because you don't need a whole lot on the large chart. It does what it does automatically. Then we could have a second chart up here for the large chart, and then both of our smaller system charts over here so we can watch them all at once. What do you guys think about that? That sounds like a good idea, huh? That sounds like Monday work. Really? Jim, that's just awful. I'm sorry. I wish I had some way of fixing that for you. Not that you can hear me say that, but. Okay, so questions, comments. And again, I am 100% against thinking about doing short trades on this S&P. I don't think they're ready for that yet. That's just me personally. And the only reason I say it is because I'm looking at my triggers. They're not even crossed down. This is one of those situations where mid band just probably just says, "Hey, we're gonna bounce." I would hope we get up here. I think this is the spot up here where we're going to make some big decisions, either breakouts or not. Anyway. Okay, that's stupid. I'm just going to get out of that. I don't know why the hell that happened. All right, so you can see, obviously, I've got a buggy version here. Hell of a showing, isn't it, guys? All these things will be solved and done by the weekend, and I'll have you guys updates. We're going to have dynamic zones, better wide trigger logics, better exit logic with our divergences all done, and I'll test it all before everybody gets their hands on it. Yours did too. Well, I'm running the same one you are. I'm running 13.2 now. Even though I was on 14.4, 14.5 or 6 ought to be the one. All right. Hola. That deal. All right, so there's not squat happening on that. So NASDAQ usually has more action. Again, this is one of those, I guess it had signals. Again, signals, I love the signal. I think it's freaking perfect. Again, for me, I really like the idea of one-to-ones plus the line, but that's just me personally for being a little more assertive. And then true to form for the whole damn week, trend trade that doesn't follow through because of multiple divergences, and then the mid band holds and bounces up. I mean, we've seen that so many freaking times over this last couple weeks, but Again, discretion, not strategy. That's a good question. At the time where we filled out the application to use NinjaTrader for our prop firm, St. Paul, they weren't taking any new applications because they were in the process of selling NinjaTrader brokerage to Kraken, the crypto company. Jeez Louise, man, look at this. Okay, that was a half-second jump. Anyway, this is our week with the war going on, man. It's just snappy. So if we had divergence to go long, I would put one on. Obviously, I'm a fan of one-to-ones, but anyway. Right idea just went a little too far for it to give a fill on a reversal bar. One of the other things, this gives me a moment to talk about another thing that we're doing here. Again, the NASDAQ is a nasty beast, and it sometimes gets really snappy. But so right now in version 13.2 that you guys have, in the next version, okay, I'm going to explain this to you guys real quick. Okay, I'm going to just send you a picture so you have a copy of it. But right now, if we get on the wrong side of the synthetic triggers, it's not going to give a signal, which is not very cool. And I wrote in here code wise, just let me show you something in the code. So it's called wrong side, right side, wrong side is basically what it is. And it's not right or left, it's correct side. Where the hell is it? We've moved stuff around. Okay, so right here, this input. So we want a reversal bar inside of, in between the synthetic triggers, just to give you guys explanation of why. Inside. Right. So in your version now, it doesn't have it. It's not really looking. If it's not inside the triggers, it's just not doing it. Does that make sense? Everybody okay with that? So in the next version that you guys get, it's going to say, you know what? Let's give it a little bit of leeway. You know, in this case, it's only 2 ticks, but you may say 5 or 10 or 12. You may say, look, if the large chart is still perfect, even though I'm just on the wrong side of my synthetic triggers, it's still going to generate a trade anyway. So because we got on the wrong side with the close, it says no, but you can see after we close back in, even though it came from the wrong side, it would give a signal in the subsequent version, which I think is the right thing to do. You guys let me know what you think. This is your system, not mine. But anyway, just giving that little bit of leeway allowance so it's not a, you know, just a little extra room just in case. And, you know, in this situation, it would have generated that signal. And of course, it's the best signal of the day. But anyway, whatever. Um, just so you guys know what's coming. And again, we're going to continue to work on this thing to keep fine tuning it and make it as good as it can possibly be and as close. Anyway, just a little bit of leeway. And again, you have to be kind of careful with how much leeway you give things sometimes. I'm going to anticipate we're not going up for the time being. We have multiple divergences and our triggers are rolling down, so almost guaranteed to make it to the mid-band plus. Anyway, no system shorts because things are on the wrong side yet, but from a discretionary standpoint, that's a really good thought process that divergence, both triggers roll over. We've been teaching that one since like 2003, to be honest. And if you're brand new to us, you may not know that we started this in 1997, really. So we've been doing this for a freaking long time. But it's just, I find it interesting and it's always fun to kind of go back and reminisce a little bit. Because when you look at the trades that we were teaching back then and you look at the trades that we're doing now, they're almost exactly identical. So here, I'll show you a picture from the old user guide. This is 2004. So if we have some type of resistance, bearish divergence, and the triggers roll over, it almost always gets back to the midband. Always. You know, divergence is automated, so you don't have to see that now. And we've got two trigger lines, but anyway, divergence, two trigger lines roll, you almost always make it back. And that's been good for 21 years. Some of you guys may not even be that old yet. Some of us are. My red and blue paint bars are not painting with the signals. Are you talking about the zones? I have no clue. What version are you on? What does it say? 13.12.3? Yeah, I don't know. Did you do this before you got started? Here's, you know, did you do all of the cleanup? And you have to do it each time, the cache files and everything else. I probably should do it too, but you have to do that every time. Yo, you left it on all night? Yeah, that's why. Here's the quick fix if you want a quick fix. Run that, which will get rid of everything that's not being used cache wise and temp folder wise. And then right click on your chart, reload historical data. All right, man, I'm really kind of surprised we're not seeing a signal here. From a discretionary standpoint, I would think we're going short right there, but I don't know why the system doesn't quite like it. There's something that's amok. What is it missing? Oh, we didn't have 4 triggers through the 1-to-1. That's the only thing that stopped it. Now we got a signal. Now we're waiting on a reversal bar, so we'll see if we actually get that. So you see intrabar it actually got 4 below. All right. And it gave a signal. And we'll take our first one off and we'll let the other one marinate. You guys want to give it a little bit of risk or see how much? There you go. New pivot. Now we're at a fib. You know, again, fib on the small chart, weak triggers on the big chart. Usually I get pretty greedy with it. If it keeps pushing, great. If not, you know, you don't want to give back too much money. I'm just letting the system kind of do its thing here. So I think that's probably it, but we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. I think I know what's going to happen at the 1-to-1, but and that's why I don't know. And all right, I'll make it a little tighter now at the next fib. If it keeps going, great. And if not, I'm not giving back much of that. Anyway, nice little run there. Everybody okay? There's an input called signal. I forgot what the hell the name of the input is, but there's an input for the alert. All right, that was pretty much textbook perfect, guys. I wish it would have happened a little sooner up here, but the triggers weren't quite through yet. So once they got through, it gave us the signal and worked out pretty well. You guys get that one? Cool. And look, it's textbook, right? I mean, if I pull up the user guide and say, hey, look at this, I'll be interested. I always do this because it's fun. When we were looking at that top being put in first, it just so happened to be from an HVA line on a 15-minute chart. And it just so happened to roll over from a zone on the 1-minute chart. And again, I was thinking we might get to here and then we might get to there. And, when I look at the 15-minute chart, we're in a situation where we may not go down much more. If we retest this, 10 area, that may be, that's where they're going to make some big decisions. So we'll see. Anyway, that is, then you add that to what's going on in the big chart. And, if they come down here and make a pivot stop out and get into that zone, that may be the end of the party right there. So, we'll see what happens. Now, are we going to get the same thing again? Are we going to get trend trade or a mid band? And is there any good reason on the small chart to think that we're going to hold that area? We'll see. Usually divergence on both charts and things on the other side, So there's your mid band. No good reason for it to go down yet, but I think we have way too much trigger line momentum to think about discretionary shorts from the mid band again. Anyway, my personal thought on that, it may still go down, but yes, use the dynamic entry zone indicator. All right. So anyway, I think this will be our line in the sand, one way or the other. If discretionarily, you may get a short, I would be very, very cautious if you make it to there. I don't, from a discretionary short standpoint, this is not my favorite look with this much strength. I usually tend to get my ass run over 2 or 3 times trying it, but we'll see what happens. Absolutely, 100%. You have full control over everything. Anyway, double 1-to-1s with divergence from the mid band, but the triggers are way too strong, I think, in my opinion. Even though we're probably going to come down a bit, I think the party may be over to the downside. We'll see. If they test this area and go back up, it should be long trades, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. If and you also have full control. Look, on these exits, if you get to a fib or 1-to-1s and you want to exit if there is a reversal bar, so you're not trying to jump on it really quick, you just click the button. So all these exit conditions are on the fly. So it doesn't even matter what you set in your system. You can turn these on or off on the fly. And we got a signal, but only after the bar went up. And do you guys understand this? I know this is frustrating because people go, why did my system take a trade? The rules, well, now it should take a trade if it gets one. All right. So we'll see. Now we've got zone. We've got zone. Hopefully it comes down at least to the edge before it goes, if it goes at all. Huh. Didn't go. Didn't like something. Oh, we've already had one long trade, haven't we? No, we haven't. Anyway, this is one for me that I would probably feel okay if we stop right there and get a little half bar entry. I'd risk a few ticks. Yeah, conditions are changed now, so nope. All right, system is smarter than me. All right, guys, I need to take a break for just a couple minutes. I'll be right back. I think we may go up still, but we'll wait for the system to get back in line here and do what it does. Didn't quite get all of our triggers above that mid band to turn it green and a good break out of the mid band. So they may chip chop around here for a minute. Good time for me to go take a short break. I'll turn off the strategy for now. Refresh it one time. So I'll keep it off while I take a break. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, anything you guys want to go through, please put them in. I'll be more than happy. It doesn't matter what you want to ask about, whether it's the system or other things. I'll be more than happy to go over anything you guys want. I guess while I'm at it, man, it takes a minute for this thing to chug along. All right, now we're caught up. We're live. This is your mid-band one-to-one combo. That's probably going to get you the rest of the move back up. We'll see what happens. All right, short break. Let me turn off the NASDAQ. Let me turn off the S&P system while I'm away here. Doesn't look like anything's going to happen for a second there either. So, all right, what do y'all want to watch? NASDAQ while I'm going? Take 5. All right, guys, I'm back. Obviously, there's a long signal here. Do we want to take it into a fib? Guess I'll take it. It's gonna be way late. See if we can get through the fib. And I'm okay pulling down a freaking stop a lot tighter here. If it doesn't go, then I'm okay with not losing any money. All right. That may be it. All right. Anyway, we're back now. Let me enable the system. It's not going to do any more trades because we hit one-to-ones. Small swing one-to-one was hit. Triggers aren't past it. Party's over. God, we shouldn't go up. I mean, we can go up, but I think that worked out pretty well. We got about the most we can get out of it. All right, can you guys hear me? Can you see everything? Everybody cool? So, system is doing, it's so close. I wish it was perfect, but we're getting there. So I appreciate you guys patience wise. And, I'm a real big believer in explaining why and what's going on. And that way you guys have the opportunity to know why you're doing things. I know everybody wants it to be, let's just turn it on and have it make me $10,000 a day every day with zero input. I don't think it's ever going to get there. It's going to get closer and closer, but I don't think it's ever going to get to that point. That's not my goal. My goal is to have it do 90 or 95% of the work for you guys. And, at 90 to 95% with a little bit of, rules based discretion and managing the exits. Here's the big thing: the ATM that you guys are running, whatever it is, doesn't matter. They're stupid. I mean, literally, and I'm using the S word, stupid, because they don't know where your fibs are. They don't know where things are. And, that's the next maybe dive into after we get the entries and all the management stuff perfect. Maybe we start doing dynamic exits and not even using an ATM. So it'll actually get out at the first pivot stop out. It'll get out at the second fib, and you know, then it'll be even closer to what we want. So you know, I don't see any good reason to stop making this thing better. So I think you know, if you like it now, it's just going to get better and better. I did get another question the other day. Somebody said, "Are you going to stop selling the darn thing?" And the answer is no, technically. Let me just pull up the website just to be clear on this one. For those of you guys that already have the indicators and own the indicators, you can actually purchase a lifetime of the strategy. If you're leasing the indicators, you can't really purchase a lifetime of the strategy because without the indicators, it ain't going to work. If you guys are serious about doing something, you have a salesperson with Nexgen. If you don't, let me know. Send me a private message in Discord and I'll get you one. We'll work out a little deal. Um, Save you guys, maybe we'll do save 20% on everything to the end of the month to give you guys a little opportunity to save a little cash. And then everybody's going to get all the way through April into the chat room. I need to make a little chat room purchase thing here, but everybody's going to get that for free. So we're not even charging for that until we get into May. Hopefully, you guys see that there's a huge amount of value in the chat room. Just from discretionary help and talking about what may or may not happen. And I think there's $200 worth of benefit in a month. I mean, you basically have to be $1 a day better to participate. So I don't know what you guys spend on your Starbucks, but it's a cup of coffee, a couple of cups of coffee a month, and you got the room. You can see now? Awesome. So we're stuck. We're stuck in between fib support and fib resistance and triggers down. So on the NASDAQ, nothing good is going to happen until one of these breaks. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to break to the upside eventually, just based on what my 15-minute chart says. Um, I would guess, I guess there's one or two things. If we do break to the downside, this will be the target. And I'm not looking at the Ninja Trader side of things. Come on, man. If we break to the downside, then the target will be 15 to 10. If we break to the upside, I think, 23,640 all the way up to maybe 9. So we got a huge window up here. So, short term, we may get one more break push to the downside. I wouldn't count on it being the mother lode sell off of the month anymore, just because we're back inside. Just chart reading. So if we get a little break and we get one short, as I said, we'll see what happens. I think shorts are going to start to be short-lived here, is what I'm trying to say. Is that a better way of saying that? That's just discretion. Right now, we're at a 1-to-1, and, look, there's a big difference between the 1-to-1 now and the 1-to-1 the first time. The first time we were at it, it was trade worthy, I think, from a discretionary standpoint, because of what the trigger lines were doing. I think the second time, it's not really trade worthy to buy because of what the trigger lines are doing, but it's good enough to not go short immediately. Does that make sense? So one of them I think is tradable, and one of them is a don't trade situation. Wait for it to break, which it may very well do. And if we get a little more of a breakout here and a push down, it's going to take a little bit of work, but obviously short signals are the path of least resistance at the moment. We shall see. No, they are not. There's an indicator called Chart Prime and Market Oracle Pro, but Chart Prime is the company that does them. And they're basically, for lack of a better way, let me just do. Well, I won't mess up my whole charts, but they basically just take support and resistance, prior pivots that bounce for both support and resistance, and draw those in. This is a very, very common technique, I think, that most traders are using these days, for prior highs and lows and multiple highs and lows, create zones. And, these zones are very good. Everybody watches them. It's interesting, since we started the prop firm, I think over 60% of the traders don't use indicators. They just wait for prior highs and lows and then hope for the best. And then, anyway, there's a whole bunch of styles that I've seen that are shocking. Some of them are good and some of them are shocking. But anyway, short version is, when you get to these zones, they have a tendency to cause things to happen. Just like our indicators. I mean, this is one of our fib indicators, the 1-to-1s. But once we break through one of those zones, plus our indicators, man, you've got really, really, really good chances with the trigger lines going down and making some short money. And then, our market dynamics, the support and resistance lines that are generated from the market flow on the minute and 15-minute chart are freaking spectacular. So, again, and that's why I think if we go down, that's our target right there. Just to give you the right number, 12. Anyway, 23,512. Watch it. We'll see if we get there. And I think when you do a combination, fucking systems, here's the thing. Again, for me, one-to-ones with everything going down with the expectation of getting lower, I like that as a discretionary short. Did somebody take it? Please tell me somebody took it. Even after a reversal bar. Look, here's the question I have for you guys. What's in the way if you go short off of the areas? What's in the way between you and making money to the next line? Nothing. I know Mark talks about that a lot. Clear path, right? So you have strength and momentum on the big chart, clear path. The system is ignorant. It doesn't know all these smart things that you guys know, but it just says, oh, look, there's only 3 triggers through and not 4. So I'm not going to give you a signal. So, is that the right thing to do? I mean, that is the way it's set up and it did the right thing, but, did it miss a whole bunch of money? I think the answer is yes. And what did I say that number was? 12, on the market flow on the 15-minute chart. It just so happens we have fibs at 13. So again, short targets would be down here, assuming that we get going a little further. System-wise, you're not going to get a signal. But things like mid-bands and or fibs usually generate some type of opportunity if it's going to happen. It's been very consistent over the last week that fibs and mid bands, and again, if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But um, we shall see. You guys want to take a discretionary trade? If this divergence happens, it'll probably be it. I won't take it because it's not system, and Mark will kick my ass. But anyway, those are the types of things that I like to look at and say, if it happens, it's really going to be worth it. And if it doesn't happen, again, the last fib, always the last line in the sand, so to speak. If that breaks, then don't even start thinking about it anymore. Looks like they don't care about getting there. And again, I could go cheat and look at my. I could look at my trading view chart and say, yes, that second fib is really probably the area. And you can see why, right? 51 to 52 HVA zone for going short. And anyway, just discretion. I don't want to give, but, and then we also said we're going to make it down to 12, 13, 14, somewhere down here. So you're talking about 30 points on the NASDAQ without too much issue. Anyway, do you guys see how I do that together? If I get this 1 minute with everything down and it just so happens to be at the mid band and fib on this chart, not that I'm trying to teach you discretion, but there's your first target at a pivot stop out and then and triggers. And then if we get a second divergence down here, let's just say hypothetically, that's where they go zip on down here and finish the move off. And you're like, God dang it, look at all that money. Anyway, you may not say that, but anyway, is that helpful? Just to kind of see maybe some extra opportunities and visual things that I'm looking at. Hopefully it doesn't overwhelm anybody's sensibilities there. But Kim, that's kind of how I use them both in combination. So I love more than anything, and I also built the Ninja Trader version of this. So if you don't have Trading View and all that, you don't have to worry about it. I have a Ninja Trader version that, let me open it up. Oop, wrong chart. So I have a Ninja Trader version of the exact same thing on Trading View. So you don't have to have Trading View. She's thinking about it, but anyway, fibs on this chart yesterday were killing it. Not a lot of fibs in here today to work with, but fibs on the 15-minute and 1-minute chart work really well. Where's my data? Is it thinking? Maybe thinking about it. Anyway, I don't mean to overwhelm you guys mentally here, but you can see now they're still trying. I mean, we have our target, and divergence from the edge of fibs is one shot. Lower divergence is the second shot. I have a feeling if we get right up in here, maybe a third, discretionary shot at a short. We'll see what happens. I think it has to happen about right there. I just don't think we're quite set up on the system to make that happen, but man. Anyway. And it just so happens that we have a new high volume area on our 1-minute chart, 38. So I think 38 may be line in the sand, so it puts us right about there. All right. One discretionary trade, yay or nay? All right, done. And the nice thing about it is if it goes too far, we don't have to worry about it. But, we kind of already said where it's going to go, right? So, anyway, Mark's going to kick my ass for doing discretionary trades with you kids, but yeah, we'll see if we can make it down there to where we said. It does it on its own after a bar, David. It just doesn't do it. All right. So should we hang for our target that we said? We did say we're going to make it down to 13. So, and you can see we actually got a signal, but it happened after the bar because, like I said, the triggers weren't going to go through it. So, anyway, here is our target area. I'll just take that off on the way down. Even it may keep going, but whatever. That's right. Motherfucker. Oh yeah, he's on vac. He went to the mountains with some friends to go hang out. So look, obviously we were talking about 12. Yeah, let me show you on the Trading View version just for fun. This was our high volume line at 1250 on Trading View. We had fibs coming in at 13 on here. Small chart caught the overrun at fibs at 07. So that's probably it for the short side for now. But anyway, that HVA on the 1-minute chart, man, whoo, talk to daddy twice. Once up here and once right there, and man, that's enough to, on a 2-lot, $700 a contract, that's pretty much time to turn it off and get the hell out of here. David, yes, I am recording it. So we can go through it. So obviously, look, I've got a little work to do on this system. I think we're getting really close. I'm super, super pleased with the darn thing. It does almost all the right things. So a couple more little tweaks and a couple fine tunes, and then we should have something that generates a really good opportunity to make a whole bunch of money. The other thing about, what we do, if 13 was our target area, then 13 is going to also be the breakout area that we're going to have to get above before we even start thinking about long trades again. Otherwise, we're going to keep going down. Again, the system is not going to generate signals because the triggers are weak, meaning smalls are inside the large. So that's not going to happen. And, from a system perspective, it's just not going to do another trade. So we don't even have to worry about it at the moment. The ES, you know, from a discretionary standpoint on the ES, that was the same trade. I mean, that's literally right out of the textbook. I can't do both of them at once. I don't even try. On your way home, stop texting and driving. What the hell's wrong with you? I know it's always tempting to say I can get away with it, but first time you run into somebody. All right, recommendation on specs for buying a new laptop that can handle NASDAQ trading systems. Yeah, I think Eddie Z is still really good choice. Let me find. Let's see. I gotta just look it up. Easy trading computers. Here's the thing. You don't have to spend so much damn money anymore. I've got pretty much this one for all intents and purposes. I got the prior version, but I mean, it's freaking awesome. I mean, it literally is a desktop replacement, and they're so fast. You don't even need all this speed anymore, Carl. It's just a waste of money, to be honest. I would go in, and if it was me looking for computers, we have a potential short sale on S&P. I guess I should turn the damn thing on in case it happens, huh? What do you guys think about this? Strong triggers, everything's down, pull back to the area. 1-to-1s at 62.75. We're getting on the wrong side, so it may not happen. This is the one that when you start getting on the wrong side, if you get a signal, you really start to run into jeopardy on getting that second higher divergence. Anyway, breaking through a fib and pulling back to it usually is pretty good. What do you guys think? One more? See what she does? Well, that's a setting, Deborah. Let's get through this here real quick and let's see. I don't know if we're going to get a down bar or not. We'll see. Close. If it was me on a Friday after 12 o'clock and I'm up good money, I'd turn everything off and get the hell out of here, which we're going to do here shortly anyway, because I got a lot of other work to do. I've had a lot of fun with you guys in here. The first 45 minutes kind of sucked because everything was wrong, but since then, getting back to the version you guys have, we've done okay here. Might get to 49, right? Big chart. Damn it. I don't know how to draw. Let's do that. You like the red box? Yeah. Well, it's really cool to see. And again, look, see how we hit the fib exactly right there? This is one that, well, it went. Okay, cool. We got back inside. So anyway, we'll see. This is one where I have a feeling, and it doesn't really matter what my feelings are, but this is where the higher divergence starts to come in, because once you get a little too far past things, the higher divergence has a tendency to rear its ugly head. So we'll see what happens. See how the small triggers aren't coming down at all? Really need those things to kind of roll over and help out here, or else this higher divergence is going to take us out. So we need to get through this little 61 area and push hard, or else the party will be over here in a second. So we'll see what happens. I think it's a good signal, good look. Off of the fib would have been better. Get a little more money out of it, but and then again, where are we going? That's the question. Prior lows, obviously, is always the first spot. That's $300. Triggers sometimes cause troubles. You should have it on the if you've updated to the current version. All right, so we got our first target. I kind of went smaller with it, but I don't think there's any reason to really risk. We'll see. We're still in that higher divergence situation. So anyway, if it goes down nice, we'll like to see it get down to the fib. That would be ideal if they just let it loose and go all the way down to the fib. I have to go look at my yeah. That's not a super great look. 55 is where we've got trouble on the trading view charts. So if we don't get a higher divergence, I hear you. Heard. All right, so higher divergence took us out. Probably, looking at the trigger lines, we're going to probably be out at the high, but rules are rules. I would think we're still going down from here, but we'll see what happens. Rules are in place for a reason. I almost turned it off because I was like, man, it's just going to get us out and then drop like a freaking brick. And it just so happens, guys, look, I hate to throw indiscretion on you guys again, but it just so happens that where that higher divergence happened, we had a 1 minute high volume area. So take it for what it's worth. We're going to get out anyway because that's what the rules say to do. But my guess is that the high volume area probably going to help push us down. We're kind of in a 50-50 not high momentum look. So we'll see. We'll see if it saved us money or cost us money. Yeah, I mean, trading views basically there's a couple rules on it, so I don't really have to teach trading view. It's just pull back to the mid-band trend trade or a high volume line. It's the same exact rules as what we teach over here. So my goal is for us not to have to teach it at all. I'm going to restructure uh, the Git book, the website, and a Discord page to basically say start here and this will be your trade. This will be your education. But we'll still do feedback for you guys. If it was me, I would probably just do it anyway. That's just me. I'll give up a few points and see if we can make a little bit more here. I guess we did get a signal anyway, so cool. I went a little early. That high volume line kind of forced me into it. So we'll see what happens. If this gets taken out, the party's over, and then there won't be any more trades going on. So maybe a third higher divergence. Yeah. All right. Third higher divergence only means one thing. They're done. Anyway, I think it was worth a little shot. Risk $100. No big deal. All right, so yeah, there's a workspace. As I said, I don't know why. Oh, shit. I'm on the wrong month. I haven't rolled this. Hang on, let me roll this. I was like, where the hell is my data? But we're not on March anymore. I haven't looked at this workspace in a while, apparently. Let me update this and I'll save the workspace and I'll send it to you. Okay, it shows our strategy trading on there. Turn that off. It's a mess. Looks messy on that chart anyway. Okay, so here's what we've got on our charts, and you can see what we're kind of in on a 15-minute. Really just kind of jammed up in some areas. And it's Friday, and it's after 12, and everybody should get the hell out of here and go play golf. They may end up going down anyway, but they're just up against it a little bit here. So let this 1 minute come in with the market flow. I'll save this off. I'll give you a copy. Yeah, well, rain. That's the next automated that I'm going to build out for us. Is so let's see. Look at the difference here. So strategy entry, strategy exit right there. And then my entry, and then it took me out again. But you can kind of make a case for, let's force them to break out of there before we actually get out of our trade. Anyway, not a bad looking workspace, huh? You go back and look, and, again, remember we had talked about that 34.5 mid band? That's exactly where it was right there. So anyway, we got some fun stuff. This was our long trade that it did while we weren't watching, and then it got out, but did another long trade, which, again, I'm a big fan of when the 1 and 15-minute chart agree with your system trading. I like it, but again, I don't want to introduce so many things that it's just overwhelming. I think the system by itself does a really great job. Let me put this on the right monitor because it'll open up out in the space for you guys. I'll save it and I'll give you guys a copy. I think many of you guys already have a copy of this, but okay. Make sure all the parts and pieces are on there. There's something missing. Looks like my divergence is missing. Can't have anything nice. All right, so I'm putting divergence on this thing because it's not on there. On either chart, it looks like. That's stupid. I don't know what. It's been a while. I just built that workspace not too long ago, and obviously I haven't spent enough time with it. So, all right. So now I've added the divergence to it, and look at this. It's even better. A little pivot stop out with divergence of a divergence from the high volume area. Yeah, I'm a fan. All right, let me save this real quick. I'll give you guys one. Workspace. Let me save my chart templates while I'm at it. Save as. I just want to save my chart templates just to make sure that I've got the right ones because obviously I was missing something. 1 minute black trading view lookalike with market flow. And all right. Anyway, you could see you could really make a case for doing another short trade with the system. The system's not going to do another one, but there's really no reason you can't do another short trade in there. But anyway, no big deal. Yeah, I got sidetracked. I mean, look, watch this. Amazon.com. How big of a screen you want? That's the question. Because damn near any of these nowadays is going to do it for you. Um, I personally like DDR5. If you can get 32 gigs, it's way better than 16. That's usually if you click on one of these, they have different configurations. So 5070 Ti is going to be better. Probably has 32 gigs of DDR5. So, something along these lines. I mean, that's $2,500. So it's a high-end machine, and you don't need Ti. You can go down to the lower version for $1,200. It's the exact same computer. You can always add in a little bit more RAM if you want, but $1,200, this will get it done for you. So something like that. But I don't think you have to spend $3,000 on a laptop anymore because, look, our software has been running, market flow since 2016. So apparently they also have a new version of NinjaTrader coming out. I don't know if you guys saw that, but maybe they fixed some of the crap that goes wrong in it. Who knows? We'll find out. Also, remember when I said 55 is going to be trouble for us on the S&P? We hit it. So we got a zone on the 1 minute, and we have one-to-ones, big one-to-ones on the big chart. So they're going to have a little bit of trouble here going down probably. So anyway, if we were short, I think 55 was your target. You can't see it here, but anyway, that's just my thought. All right, other questions, comments, concerns. I think we're going to end a little bit early today. It's Friday, and I've got so much crap I need to do that I'm going to go do it. So I'll open it up for any other questions or anything that you guys would like to go through. And I will clean up the first part of that recording and then post it today so you guys can go back and watch. Yeah, see, look, this one says short NASDAQ, which is a great look, but you're doing it into triple divergence at a fib, so that's where the trouble comes in. So it may still go anyway. Again, I'm a fan of the edge of the triggers and one-to-ones for a little bit more assertive. Anyway, it's just me. But I'm done for the day. Oh, the workspace. My bad. Here it comes. I'm starting to think about all the other stuff I need to be doing, so bear with me here. Compress to zip file. Okay. Here is your NinjaTrader 1 minute, 15 minute. That is a duplication of the trading view, so you don't even need trading view. I like trading view as a backup on the side, but that's just me personally. All right, other questions, comments. Do you guys want the chart template I made? I'll be more than happy to give you the chart template too. The 1 minute with the market flow, which you can use on any minute chart. Templates, chart template. So the other one was workspace. And then this one goes into, I'll give you the path so that way there's no questions. How'd it go? Oh my God. Come on, Johnny. All right, 1 minute. I have a lot of chart templates. Okay. There you go. There, you can't do it. There's no way to send a trading view template. You have to kind of build it out and then save it. It's a pain in the ass, but all right, guys. Other questions, comments, concerns, anything you guys like to go through? If not, I want everybody to have an awesome weekend. You guys have a great day. And if you have anything that you need, just let us know. We'll be here to help you. Yeah, and if you guys need anything, just give a tech, make a tech ticket, ask Jason. Jason will take care of you personally if you need anything else. Not golfing until the morning, but I appreciate it. No, I'm going to work for real work. All right, guys. You guys have a great weekend. By the way, Mark's out on Monday, so you guys get me again on Monday. So hopefully we'll have our new version with all the crap fixed that's not fixed in this one, and then we're gonna have a lot of fun. So we'll be back on it on Monday, guys. New version in hand, and then in the meantime, I'll send out an email to everybody, so it will be on there. And then I'll put a date. You know what I haven't done, which I should do. Bear with me. Um, I will add a date to the website. So if you go to our support page, you can always download the current version. Um, I should put a date on that. So that way you know if it's new or not. So I will do that. So check the support page. If there's a date on there that is new, then you'll know that. And I'll make a second button for some instructions, installation instructions. More work to do. What else can I do? Anybody? Otherwise, look, you guys have an awesome freaking weekend. We'll do it again on Monday. I'll be with you on Monday, 10 a.m., and we'll have some fun. You guys take care.